Well, good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to Jen Cares, powered by Chosen Counselors, Getting Your House in Order series. I'm your host, Jen Cares, and the founder of Chosen Counselors, a nonprofit organization that seeks to inspire, motivate, empower, and strengthen individuals and families. A special thank you so much to my new friend and sister, Ignatia Bradshaw. We learned what contributes to our credit score last week, the benefits of splitting payments into two, and about credit restoration, not just repair. It was such a great segment. Still getting calls and hearing about some people that want to contact her. So I will be sharing her information on tonight. Actually, I'm hoping that she joins in so she can share it with you, just in case I forget. Sorry, I'm gonna try to remember. But I'll make sure I get you her information because a lot of people were excited to hear about how to restore their credit and not just repair it. So be sure to catch that replay if you missed it. As always, I do thank you all for tuning in. I thank you for sharing. I thank you for your comments. I thank you for your continued support. I truly, truly appreciate it from my heart. Whew. So this month, we have been talking about getting your house in order. And tonight, we're going to close out as we talk about securing a home. Purchasing a home is no joke. I had a phenomenal realtor, Daryl Lee, and my house hunting team did not and would not let me settle. So it's very important who you have supporting you and leading you in that process. I'm so grateful to them. I died 5 times through the process, but I made it through, and I'm so grateful to be able to live into the story. But tonight we have somebody that's going to give us some feedback and insight and some simple steps of how to prepare us for purchasing a home, to learn different things about your current home, and let's just see what we have. So help me welcome. Tonight we have Shakela Strawberry, a real estate agent. And I follow her on Facebook and I just love seeing her post. She's so bubbly and I'm excited for what she's going to share with us on tonight. So please help me welcome our realtor expert, Miss Strawberry.
Woo! Hi, everybody.
I got a whole bunch of theatrics over here. It's one man show, but she's working it out. So thank you for joining us. How are you doing?
I'm good, and yourself?
I can't complain. Very excited, very excited, very excited. All right. So how we start off over here, we start with a quote of the day. Today's quote of the day is, if you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. As with all matters of the heart, you'll know when you find it. Steve Jobs. What's your thoughts on that quote?
That's a great quote. And I think it's very, very apropos to home ownership because, a lot of times people get discouraged.
Yes.
Especially in a market such as this, when you're a buyer and you could feel like you're losing out on house after house, and I think it's just a wonderful reminder when it is it. You will absolutely know.
It applies not just to home, purchasing a home, but a whole bunch of aspects. Sometimes we jump into stuff and we shouldn't. But definitely with the home, before I purchased my home, I tried another time before, and I would find a house, and my realtor was like, "That's my sister. No, you can't go here because you see how they did that. They didn't do a good job." So wanting someone's policy and not something that somebody just put together, and then you get in, spend all your coins, and then you got to fix it.
Exactly.
But when you know. When I walked into my current home, I was like, "Okay,
right."
I had nothing to say. They was like, "Oh, you must like this." I would just walk around. I was like, "This is nice." So when you'll know, and you'll have that knowing. You say, "This is the one I want to pursue."
Yeah.
So we're going to talk a little bit more about that process because you're excited to buy a home most of the time, and you see a home, you're like, "This is it." But really knowing the different steps, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But I also like to start off with letting people know your experience. So, what tell us about your background.
But tell us about
your background.
I have been in the business for 11 years.
Okay.
Ironically enough, I started out when I was pregnant. That's when I took my real estate classes. I was pregnant with my last daughter. And then my husband's aunt and my sister were looking for homes at the same time.
Okay.
And I kind of I became their the realtor apprentice, I guess you could call it.
Okay.
So I was kind of looking at stuff while their realtor was looking at things and helping him. He didn't ask me for my help, but I just doing it. But he had said to me afterwards, after I helped him find the houses that they're in, he was just like, you just really have an knack for this. Like, you really listen, you really know what people want. And he said, I really think you should consider getting into it. So I was in the final stages of my pregnancy, and I took the course in January, got done in April, took my test in June, right before I had my baby, and passed the first time. And it's just been history from there. For the first 5 years, I guess, I did this and worked full time at the welfare office.
Okay.
And then it was just time. It was just time to kind of like venture out and walk by faith and do this thing full time. So
that's it. Oh, that is awesome. One, to be in the field. What made you go into the field?
I just really liked seeing people happy. I liked listening to people and being able to feel like I gave people something of value that would really help them in the long run. And yeah, to me, it's about helping people build wealth. And one of the biggest, if not the biggest, yes, the biggest gain of wealth in our society is on real estate. It really
is. Big decision, lifelong.
It is
lifelong, and you don't want to. It's a big decision. It's as important as David said, looking to get married. It's as important as looking to get married.
It is. I mean, I really do think that is. I mean, it is a commitment.
Yes.
And not just a financial one, which I'm sure we'll talk about, right?
Yes.
But it's not just a financial commitment. It's an investment. Like when you purchase a home, you are purchasing an investment. You got to care for your home. You got to make sure that home fits you.
Yes.
Or else you're going to end up in a different predicament. 2 years later down the road. So, yeah. That's
awesome. So I have prepared some questions, but again, my chosen friends, if you have any questions, be sure to drop them below, and I will be sure to add them up so that our Miss Strawberry can answer. I just like saying Miss Strawberry. I think Hey, Mama Wanda, she said, "Hey, Jen, homeowner for 33 years, house
nice, house paid for. I like
that's amazing. Yes, because I want to also get in, talk a little about when people get second mortgages and things.
Okay.
Yeah. So, are you a homeowner?
I am not yet.
Yet, okay.
Well, I'm not yet again. So listen, I have a different testimony. I come from a different background in the sense of I've owned a home in the sense that I had a home that was gifted to me, actually. It was a family home. And then we tried to fix it up, and it was like nothing was working. We was just doing things. So we refinanced it. Tried to do it again. Didn't get quite the right people in there to do it. So then I still ended up messing up. And so we ended up having to give up our home. So we made that tough decision. And so, I come from, I guess you could say, a very unique situation in the sense that I give people something and I know how easy it is to lose. Not easy, but you know what I mean. But at the same time, I know what it takes to keep it up.
Yes.
And I know one day soon, God will bless me with the opportunity to be able to do it all over again. But yeah, that's kind of where I come from. So I've been a homeowner. However, I didn't go through the home buying process. Like we talk about refinancing or home equity line of credit a little later and all that. So that was my experience. Like I literally refinanced the home. So it looked very different than when you purchasing a home and things of that nature. So.
But I like that though, because like those that are listening, our chosen friends, buying a house is not for everybody. your testimony is that you want to, be there again. But if that's not something that you want to do, it's totally okay.
Right.
You can still ask some questions as it relates to it. There are definitely some perks to not owning a home. I wouldn't have to deal with the snow. I wouldn't have to rake up those leaves. Some people I have to fix them, I'm now the landlord,
Right.
So there are some perks if that's what you want. Again, nobody's forcing you to do anything. There's different ways you can do to make it investment wise.
Right.
Which we'll talk about too. But again, no pressure to anybody. It's not that you have to do this, but if you're interested, we have somebody here that can answer some questions for you. So go ahead, Urban Evangelist, homeowner, mortgage free for 10 years.
Nice.
May that be my testimony one day.
Listen.
So when looking at pricing, because that's so I want to buy a home. That's the easy part. Now the pricing is the part that either get me in the door or tell me that I need to sit down a little bit longer.
Right.
What should somebody consider when looking at pricing for a home?
So first thing I want to say is the price of the home in a city is not going to look the same as if you go into a county.
Absolutely.
So you may have, for example, you may be eligible for $250,000.
Mm-hmm.
$250,000 in a city is not going to be $250,000 in a county.
Absolutely.
That is because of the taxes.
Mm-hmm. Start my life.
Right. So, your mortgage payment literally could be the same if, with a $200,000 home in a county as it is with a $250,000 home in the city, just simply because of the taxes. Like, depending on where it is. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but you understand. But I mean, the taxes.
Yeah,
so here's the idea. The cost of the home, the overall cost of the home, that's being spread out over 30 years or 15 years, whatever you decide to get your mortgage for.
Mm-hmm.
Taxes can only be spread out over 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
So if the taxes are $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000, $11,000, $12,000, they are in some
like the county. Mm-hmm.
Right. So if that's the case, if you got a $12,000 tax bill, you already adding $1,000 a month to your mortgage.
Right.
So those are the things that you want to consider in pricing is where you can get the best bang for your buck.
Mm-hmm.
What's going to be included in that monthly mortgage payment? Because if you're mortgaging it, you don't get to opt out of taxes. They're going to pay their taxes, and that's all going to be wrapped up in your mortgage payment.
Right.
And then the other thing that unfortunately some people don't consider is your utility. Right. So, you don't want to purchase at the very top and then don't take into consideration cable and gas and electric. And, things of that nature. But for the most part, your mortgage payment is going to include your insurance, your homeowner's insurance, your taxes, and whatever your mortgage payment is.
Got it.
You can guess about, for every $10,000, that's going to be $50 a month. That's how you kind of average out what your mortgage payment will be.
Yes, taxes in the county can get you, but it's what you want. I did look at Philadelphia.
Everything has its value, right? Like I sell out in the county probably more than I sell in the city. Like I'm not even gonna lie. So I'm not discouraging it. To me, it's all about making sure that everybody knows what the expectation is.
That's it. Oh, and yes. So if I get approved for, we said maybe $250, $100, should I get a house that costs that much?
That's up to you. So, for instance, for example, you can get approved for $250,000, but let's say it's you and your husband, and only you got approved for $250,000. You might feel a lot more comfortable because it was only approved with your income, and you're not counting your husband's income, and so therefore you might feel more comfortable spending $250,000. Now, I will tell you, I ask my clients, I don't want the big number. I want the monthly payment number.
Yes, that's it.
Because I can figure out the monthly payment because it might not be $250,000, right?
Yeah.
So I want your monthly payment number. So if you tell me where you want to be monthly payment wise, then we can figure out exactly what we're looking at as far as the house monthly payment.
Got it. Yes, definitely. That's a big piece. We talked about budgeting a couple weeks ago, or a month ago. I'm not sure when. One of those months. But the importance of budgeting, because again, you could be approved for that much, but if it's not in your budget to spend, again, knowing what the monthly payment will be for your mortgage that has the mortgage insurance and taxes, so that you could be able to live. As well as your other utility bills and things of that sort. If you're in an apartment and it's all inclusive, you live in a good life.
And you gotta consider emergencies. Things happen. You are a homeowner, so guess who's responsible for the home? You don't want to be house poor. You don't want to.
That's it.
Spend so much that you can't afford a oops. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that, and that's where Anisha, right?
Yes.
Last week, that's even where the credit comes in, because if you don't have it all at one time, if you could finance a certain amount to get a new heater, whatever, you want to be in a position to be able to, if you have to.
Yes.
But at the same time, you want to have the mortgage payment in such a way where hopefully you have a stash. That's the key.
That's it. Shondo here showing off. House paid for in cash. No mortgage from day one. Must be nice.
Wow. I've had a couple of clients like that. I have. And I'm gonna tell you the clients I love. I love clients who buy their kids homes. I think it's the best thing ever.
Very nice.
To be able to, gift your kids something that brings them back in the long run.
Yes.
But I've had clients that just say, here, I want to do this for my child. And come and buy it in cash.
Yes, it's amazing. We also had somebody talking about life insurance. So having life insurance to be able to leave something. So it's just as important. What are you leaving behind?
And so there's a such thing on a note of life insurance. One, you want to make sure your life insurance is enough to cover that mortgage in case something happens to you. So that's one of the first things you want to consider in your life insurance policy. So if your house is in that mortgage is $200,000, you really don't want to get a life insurance policy that's less than $200,000. You don't want to do that. But two, there's a such thing called mortgage insurance. And I'm not talking about mortgage insurance premium, but you could either talk to your life insurance company or you could talk to your mortgage company. You could pay an extra premium a month. And in the event of your death, then your mortgage could be liquidated. So that's something that you want to consider as well. And that can be wrapped up in your regular mortgage payment. And that could be separate from your life insurance. I'm not saying don't get life insurance, but that's just something that comes
in addition. Got it. This is for us that still are paying mortgage, not the lovely ones that have graduated. Congratulations to you, but for us that's still there, it's good to know. Urban Evangelist said, yes, budgeting is very important. Don't want to bite off more than you can chew. That is old school indeed, but it's still the truth today.
Yeah, it is. It is. And unfortunately, a lot of what happened in the housing market is in the crash. That was just it, right? It was twofold. It was houses being appraised for way more than what they're worth. But it was people biting off more than what they could chew. It was people with two incomes using both incomes in the top of the pre-approval to get what they wanted. And then you're not prepared for the emergencies. So somebody loses their job and now you can't afford the mortgage.
So it sounded like it would possibly be beneficial to just have one person get the approval so that the other income is a support, but not the whole thing, so you're not in trouble.
Yeah. Now I can't tell clients how to do it. If if you got it and you can budget accordingly and all that, that's all well and good. But absolutely, I have a lot of clients that prepare. That's how they prepare for the work.
Got it. Makes sense. She said those hot water heaters will get you. She said yes, they are the worst. And how you said when trying to get repairs done to the house, that is a process. Trying to find the right person to be your person, to fix if the plumbing goes bad, fix if the heater go bad. I can't tell you, I went through a couple of gardeners, because either they weren't consistent or they weren't consistent.
Right.
So I
Right.
found a company. I done been giving his name to everybody. Like, here you go. He comes every 2 weeks faithfully, gets it all done. I tried it myself. It did not work out. It may work for you.
Right.
Finding somebody to that consistent person and that's going to give you quality work. That's a whole nother beast in
Yep.
itself after you get the house.
Yep. Yep. I agree. And so some people also swear by, what do you call them? Home warranties.
Okay, yes, I've heard of them.
So some people swear by home warranties and the fact that, you know, if you get a home warranty, a lot of people have had a lot of success in getting their hot water heaters replaced or their heaters replaced or fixed and things of that nature.
Okay.
So that is something that you want to consider. A lot of realtors have connections with different home warranty companies. And you could actually get that wrapped up in your closing costs.
Okay.
And then your first year of home warranty is paid, and you just have to pay it subsequently. They cost around $500 a year. So it's just an investment that you kind of make and go from there.
Good to know. Good to know. Yes, reliability is important. Yes. So when looking for a school, when looking for a home, should you worry about the school district? What are the things you should put in consideration when looking for a home? We know
that everybody is different.
Okay.
And what their priorities are and what's important to them. So here, a couple of things as a realtor, not just a real estate agent, but a realtor, and that's a person, a professional who belongs to the National Association of Realtors, and we have to abide by a certain code of ethics. I cannot tell you if it's a good school district, if it's a bad school district. I can't even tell you it's a good neighborhood, if it's a bad, that's called steering.
Okay.
And I can't, I am not, it's unethical for me to do that. And also because a good school district to me and a good school district to you
might be different.
Different things, right? Like I may have certain, you know, goals for my kids. And I may have access to certain resources to my kids where certain things may not bother me that bother you.
That's good. That's good. So they should do their research prior to maybe connecting with you to know what it is that they're looking for.
Yeah.
I know with my house, I would come, actually, whatever house I was looking at the time, I would go at nighttime to see what it looks like.
Right.
Go to daytime, see what it looks like. Is it quiet? What's happening? How are the neighbors? How are they interacting? I actually met my neighbor next door one of the days, and then he ended up moving and things of the sort. But it was like my, you know, what's it called, shadow person to kind of help look for me for the area, you know, like to make sure it was good.
Right.
Yeah. Research. You want to like do some investigation. That's even an apartment if you're looking for wherever you go. Like, what's the, you know, specs? What is the neighborhood saying? What's going on? What's happening?
But just know, as a buyer, that is on you to do. You can't ask your realtor to research that information for you.
Yes, it's so important. So again, if you're looking for a home, look into it. That's like if you're buying a car, you know how you look into the reviews for it, you see how much it costs, you want to check it out, test drive it. Now that's something you could test drive the car, see how you like it, if you get the pickup that you like, if it lasts and things of that sort. You want to make sure that you're making an informed decision, because after you sign that dotted line, it's not like a 30-day.
Yep.
Let me turn this back in.
So, that ain't how houses work.
Yes. So I have another question. So during the summer, Philadelphia had some flooding going on. How can, and looking at research, we're saying, so like, is there a way to look into to find out if flooding happens in that area, and what's that process?
So what should happen is the seller should know if they're in a flood zone, and there's a form that they fill out called the seller's property disclosure that is supposed to let you know if they're in a flood zone or not.
Okay.
If the seller doesn't know and they fill it out incorrectly, or if they're not truthful and they fill it out incorrectly, when you go to purchase the house and they do a search and they do a survey of the property, your title company is going to do that. They will absolutely let you know if you're in the flood zone. The problem is by that time you already under contract.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you right now that flood insurance is no joke at
Yeah.
all. Like it's probably around another $1,500 a year on top of whatever your regular homeowner's insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So you just kind of have to keep that in mind.
Okay.
Um, and again, everybody is different. So
Mm-hmm.
some people feel as though that particular area may be worth that sacrifice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so that's what they do.
Got it. Or it may be a flood area, but it doesn't happen that often. So you're like, I'll be good. And then this year was like, oh, okay.
But even if you're good, so I'm gonna tell you. So I had a seller like that. She never had flood insurance, but she also didn't know it was a flood area, and it never happened while she was there. And so the buyer kind of wanted to go based on the fact that it never happened to the other person, and the bank was like, "Yeah, no."
Yeah.
So they still have to get. It doesn't matter. Like once you found out,
Yes.
they you want to end up having it. Mm-hmm.
So that's a piece you said that knowing the history of a house. So how can you find out the history? You can. It's not always that you really talk to the person that you're buying a home from. So how can you get that piece of, the flooding or anything else that could possibly happen at their home?
So really, as far as what happened inside the home, you really only have the word of whoever is the owner of the home.
Okay.
So they are supposed to fill out what's called a seller's property disclosure, and I want to say it's about a good 8 pages, where they check off, what happened while they were in the home, any renovations they did to the home, anything they noticed in the home, if there were any leaks in the home while they were in the home, things of that nature. How old is the heater? When was the last service? All that. So you really only have that form to go by. That's all you have. Any other information you find out, legality wise, you kind of end up having to prove that the seller knew it. Sometimes you can. Unfortunately, most times you can't. So you know how that works.
Got it. So you're taking a chance a little bit, but again, when you know, so you go forward with it. And if you're budgeting properly, then you have something for a rainy day, because definitely one thing happens, you turn around, something else happens, you turn around, 5 more things happen. And that's just life. It's not even necessarily that it's money related, but it's something else to kind of like, dang, I thought I was driving good. So you have that cushion.
And that's it. Like at the end of the day, I really can't stress enough of having an emergency fund, and you need to budget something like that when you are going to purchase a home.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. So should I be worried if a house has been on the market too long? Like, is it ghost there? Is it haunted?
So that's another question that's like, I don't know how. So I have been in the position of having sellers that aren't always necessarily realistic about the prices of their homes.
Okay.
And then their homes sit on the market, and there's literally nothing wrong with the home.
Okay.
It's just overpriced.
I
mean, I don't, you know what I mean? So like, again, I think it all kind of depends on the house and the people selling the house.
Okay.
And you'll know when you walk in if it's really, really bad. And again, the seller's disclosure really should tell the story. So of course, some homes you walk in and you go, oh, well, no wonder this has been sitting here, right? But other homes, you walk in and it's like, so why has this been sitting here? And sometimes you just got to be grateful because that's just the way you want it.
That's it.
You just so happen to sit there.
That's it. You got to change your mindset. Free
Right.
frame. It was waiting for me. That's why I was here.
Yeah.
If it's what meets your eye and what makes you like, this is it. If it's that's what was happening. It was for you.
So I would say not necessarily. I would say don't jump to conclusions. I would say absolutely still go and see it. It could just be a couple things. So for instance, like say a house is in a homeowners association, right? It could simply be sitting there because that homeowners association isn't allowed to take an FHA loan, which we'll get into the different types of loans later.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
you know, if you have a lot of buyers that's dealing with FHA loans, then it's going to sit longer than the other houses are going to sit because it needs a conventional loan. Do you understand what I mean? So, and that's just because that particular condo association or homeowners association doesn't meet FHA guidelines. So they can't get FHA approval. So they can't.
And FHA is?
Federal Housing Authority.
Just want to make sure.
So it is a federally backed loan. So it's not just the bank that's backing it, it's the government that's backing the loan.
Okay.
And when the government is backing a loan, the requirements are going to be much more strict. Not just for the buyer necessarily, but the requirements are more strict for the seller. And then when you're dealing with homeowners and condo associations, the requirements are strict for them too. So everybody just doesn't want to subscribe to more strict rules.
Got it.
And it really is that simple.
Got it. So let's talk about short sales. So when I was about to purchase my home, one of the houses I was looking at, I was like, oh, this is beautiful. It's not, I thought at first it would be too big. I was like, I can do this, I can make it. But it was a short sale, but one, we had trouble contacting the person, so it didn't work out. Again, it wasn't the right fit anyway. This one has been amazing. But short sales, what's that process?
So short sales are when the person is selling the house for less than what they owe on the house.
Okay.
So, and short sales have to be approved by the bank that they're with.
Okay.
So short sales can take a while. They can take anywhere from 3 to 6 months. And a lot of that actually depends on whether or not when the person listed the property, if they already had an approved short sale, or if they didn't have an approved short sale, but they're going to go sell it anyway because they know they can't keep up with the payments.
Okay.
And they're going to bring the bank an offer basically, and then try to get the short sale approved that way.
Okay.
So it takes a lot of patience.
Okay.
Because it is a tedious process and a long process. The other really big thing about a short sale is that they are almost always sold as is. So if you remember, the seller is underwater. So the seller doesn't have extra money usually to do any repairs. So therefore, you're purchasing the short sale as is.
Okay.
The other thing with the short sale is if you need help with closing costs, which is what we call seller's assist, there's usually a limit to what you can ask for, if you can ask for anything at all, because once again, the seller is underwater.
Okay.
So anything, when you ask a seller for seller's assist, what's happening is, say again, we're going to use that $250,000 as a gauge. If you need $10,000 in seller's assist, that means that seller's only getting $240,000, not the $250,000 that you offered.
Okay.
Right. So if you do that with a short sale, it's the same thing. Now the seller is already underwater. And now you're also asking them to help you with the closing costs. But you're not really asking them because they're not making money off the sale.
Right.
So you're asking the bank.
Okay.
Yeah.
Urban Evangelist said, what about foreclosures?
So foreclosures means that they either didn't get approved for the short sale, or the bank... or the person didn't go for a short sale and they just gave it back to the bank, and the bank has now taken it over. So now the person doesn't own it. The bank owns the house. The good part about a foreclosure as opposed to a short sale is the time frame can be the same as a regular sale.
Okay.
And now you're literally just going back and forth with the bank. Now there's some slow banks. I'm not even gonna hold you. Some banks are just slow. I don't know why they're slow for no reason. But for the most part, the sale is around, you know what I mean? Like it's around the same time. So you can from the time you put your offer in to the time you close is around 45 days, 30 to 45 days. So it's about the same process for a foreclosure. Again, though, the house is as is. Don't go in there asking. I mean, you can ask, not go in there expecting the bank to change things. 9 times out of 10, they will only change something that is like foundationally related, like something real big, right? If the bank decides that they're going to take a FHA loan, which not every bank does, then again, it's on them to decide whether or not they're going to do any repairs that your appraiser may mandate. Because that is the other difference between an FHA loan and, say, a conventional loan, which is a bank-backed loan. An appraiser will come in for an FHA loan, and it's almost like a second home inspection. And the appraiser has every right to say, oh, well, this isn't safe, this isn't safe, the seller has, or this has to get fixed. They don't say seller or buyer. They just say this has to get fixed. If it doesn't get fixed, you don't get the house. You don't get the loan. And so for that reason, most banks are kind of shy away from an FHA loan if they can. They got other offers, unless the FHA loan is probably too good to be true, meaning the price is too good. But for the most part, they don't want any liability.
Got it.
And so that's kind of how that looks. But foreclosures are great. Foreclosures and short sales are great for getting houses under market value. Because you're usually not going to pay, for the most part, you're not going to pay with the market, what the actual house is.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So for a foreclosure or short sale, I can't maybe ask for less than what the home is going for. But for a regular sale, could I possibly ask for reduced price?
So I would, in the seller's market, probably not.
Oh, okay.
We're in a seller's market. I'm just keeping it real with y'all. I have a buyer now that's so distraught. We only been searching for a week, and every house she finds before we can get to it is under contract. It's the seller's market. You got houses that are going off the market in 2 days. Literally, I'm not even lying. Just 2 days. You know what I mean? I had a listing not too far from me, and within a day I had 14, 15 showings, but I had somebody put in an offer sight unseen. Same thing came on the market, right? So so I'm not saying that it's not possible. Again, my whole motto is I'm setting expectations.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let you know that it's just not as likely. Because in a seller's market, you are most likely also dealing with multiple offers. And in order to compete with a multiple offer, you got to give your highest and best. And if your highest is not the entry price, I guarantee you somebody.
That's it. I can tell a quick, I don't know if it's quick, a short story of how I got my home. I wasn't the only person that put a bid in for it. But when I saw the house, I had lost it at first, and I found it again, like on your little
ad.
It's on the ad. And I heard write a letter. So I wrote a letter, and I submitted a letter with my offer. And I will always hear they say, but the one with the letter. So there are ways that you can shine and stand out. If it's the will for you to have it.
If it's the will for you to have it, it's the will for you to have it.
That's it. I looked at letter, and that letter.
That's why I said I'm not saying don't.
Yes.
I'm not saying
I didn't ask for nothing like low. I don't know if I asked for anything lower. Don't remember 5 years ago.
But so in a seller's market, I'm saying you don't even have to. I guarantee you there's almost always in a seller's market. These people are asking. They are offering over asking price for these houses. So you can't think that you're like getting a deal or giving them a deal or anything like that, because they looking at prices. And so again, in a seller's market, when we talk about asking price or not, the other question you have to ask yourself, is do you need help with sellers like closing costs? If you need sellers assist, you're never asking the asking price.
Right.
Because the sellers assist, like I said, is already off the top. So if you offer them the asking price of $250, but you need $10,000 in seller's assist, you're not offering them $250. You offering them $240, and they're going to look at it that way. So you just kind of have to keep that in mind. And then the other thing I tell my buyers is this: so many people are looking for a deal, but it really isn't as much of a deal as so many people think it is. So honestly, if you're really not getting like a good 10, 15 grand off the price, you're not saving a lot in a mortgage. So if you're trying to broker a deal and it's like, I just need $5,000 off because I need to feel like I got a deal, that's $30. $30.
Right.
So then you got to ask yourself, am I willing to lose this house over $30? That already might not even be at the top of your budget.
Yes.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So if you was already pre-approved for $300 and you only paying $250, you know what I mean? Like, just think about it before you try to make a point. Because some people, honestly, it's just like, well, I just want to feel like I got a deal. Okay. And now we at the fourth offer we tried to put in. We still don't have a house. So. And
hoping that one still go in unless somebody swoop in. Because as the bank just wants the money, they just want the money. So if they can get more dollars, they're going to take more dollars.
The bank does want their money back, but remember, in a short sale foreclosure, the bank is already getting less.
Yeah, you're right.
So it's not just about getting their money back, because they're really not getting all their money back. They're
trying to recoup something.
They're just trying to recoup something so they don't lose it all. Yep.
Goodness. So I saw a home inspector. Why is that important?
So home inspectors are important because, again, it's all about setting expectations. You want to know what you're getting yourself into. And as much as the sellers may fill out the seller's disclosure, again, there are things they might not even know is wrong with the home, right? So those are the types of things that a home inspector, that is their job. The home inspector's job. And I tell my clients this all the time. The home inspector's job is to find what's wrong.
Yes.
Period.
So
don't come and say, oh my gosh, Shakela, he said all this stuff was wrong. That's his job. That's her job, right? Your job is to find out what is wrong in the sense of helping you prepare for, what it is, what kind of investment you're getting yourself into.
Yes.
That's basically what it is. And so I try to set those expectations because I don't want people to get overwhelmed by all the stuff. Most home inspectors, though, they kind of label stuff. So they'll tell you, this here is something you need to, worry about right away. This here is a hazard. This here is something you just need to budget for, this, that, and the third. So a lot of home inspectors will tell you that right up front.
And you have to have that piece before you even move forward in the process.
You don't have to have that piece. So again, in the seller's market, you would be surprised at how many people are waiving home inspections because the less contingencies, the less the seller feels anxiety about the client backing out.
Wow.
So, a seller sees home inspection.
They're going to say, come on and come in. We know this is wrong. And you'll find out when you get there.
Well, again, some people, depending on what you get it for, depending on what you've already budgeted for, depending on who you are. Like, I have clients who are contractors or who are related to contract, and they don't really care. Like, I'm not that they don't care, but they don't. It's not a deal breaker.
Yeah,
I just feel like nothing that's going to come up is going to be a deal breaker because they have somebody that's going to take care of all that.
Got it.
So, so there again in this seller's market, there are a lot of people waiving home inspections. A lot of people, and it's just like, I'll figure it out when I get there, and then we'll just go from there.
Got it. Urban Amanda said, "Is $25,000 a good down payment?"
Oh yes, it is a good down payment. So I say if you're not so down payments like that will make a dent in the mortgage. That's what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
However, I'm gonna also say this: people confuse down payment sometimes with closing costs.
Mm.
So depending on if you have 25 grand, right? All right, case in point, perfect example. I had a buyer a couple months ago that bought a triplex.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
She only put a down payment of 3.5%. She was going to live in her and her husband was going to live in one of the triplexes,
Mm-hmm.
and they were going to rent out the rest.
Mm-hmm.
And so she only put a down payment of 3.5%, right? However, she decided to make herself competitive because she was in a bidding war.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't going to ask for any seller's assist.
Okay.
All right. So her not asking for seller's assist and her now doing an FHA 3.5% down, but her closing costs ended up being 20 grand.
Mm.
Because she didn't ask for seller's assist, so she had to pay for all the closing costs out of her pocket.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So you got to figure out where that money is going to go.
Mm-hmm.
If you have 25,000 that you're literally putting down on a mortgage, that means you must have more for the closing costs. Does that make sense?
You must have more. You need to have more. If you
You
don't
need to have more. You got to have more for the if you're putting 25% down on the mortgage, you're going to need to have more for the closing costs.
Okay. Okay. Mama Wanda said, this is really good information. We bought our home directly from the homeowner, but I know this is practical information. Love this. Yes.
So there are realtors, speaking of this, and I just had a buyer send this to me today, and I dealt with a buyer last year. We did the same thing, for sale by owners.
Okay.
You can absolutely have a realtor help you purchase a for sale by owner.
Okay.
Absolutely, you can. If you need, like having a realtor is like having a lawyer, just for a homeowner process. To an extent, there are still real estate attorneys, but like they know what it entails to purchase that home and purchase that home free and clear, so you don't walk into anything.
Okay.
So I have absolutely had buyers who wanted to buy a home that was not on the market, and I absolutely brokered that deal for them.
Okay. Absolutely. Yeah, Urban Advantage said, I want a triplex. And these are investment properties, a duplex or a triplex, because you're in one, rent out the other portions of it.
Right. So again, this is where that down payment looks different, right? Okay. So if you want a triplex and you want an owner occupied triplex, that means you're going to live in one of the apartments and then you're going to rent out the other two apartments. That's different than if you want to buy the triplex as an investment property. Okay. If you buy the triplex as an investment property, you can bank on putting more money down. Okay. That's an automatic, probably good 20% or something like that. Okay. But if you do the owner occupied, they're going to treat it like a regular sale.
Okay. So it's possibly best to do owner occupied, because then you're not hitting the pockets that much.
Right, but if you can now, if you have a house,
you're right.
You had to explain that. You're right, because you had to figure out how that works, and yeah, you know what I mean. Because the bank is going to be like, "How you doing on occupied? You own, yeah,
right."
Trying
to make it. I got it.
Yeah. You got to make it all work. So, but I think it's wonderful for especially millennials or even first time home buyers and single or whatever. Like, I think it's an awesome idea to have your first property be a multifamily property. And in many ways, you can either be paying less of a mortgage or no mortgage at all, depending on how you do it.
Right. But you should be saving that other money, because something will come up.
Absolutely. So, listen, the people who save the most are the people who were already preparing to pay a mortgage. So now you pay yourself.
Yes.
You pay yourself. You still put that money aside in an account somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you pay yourself. That's how you do it.
So in that comment that we said, we talked about if you already have a house and you get a triplex. So if I already have a house and still paying a mortgage, but get married, want to now move, but want to still keep my house even though I still have a mortgage, what's that process? Like, I'll eventually rent out my home as we now find a new home.
So all right, a lot of this too depends on the type of mortgage that you have and when you're
Okay.
doing this, right? So if it's a
Okay.
FHA loan, you're kind of mandated to be in at home in a certain amount of time before you can actually rent it out legally.
Well, no, my current home. So if I'm in my current home, been there, let's say 15 years, I want to now buy another home and move, but still keep my home, even though I have a mortgage for that
You
home.
can do that as long as you're eligible.
Okay.
As long as you're eligible. And a mortgage person will let you know if you're eligible to keep both.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll let you know right away. Oh, well, no, you still have a mortgage on that house. So a lot of that has to deal with your income to debt ratio, which we
Mm-hmm.
talked about last week.
Mm-hmm.
And if it makes your income to debt ratio too high where you can't have both mortgages at the same time, the
Mm-hmm.
mortgage company will let you know that. Or
Got
if the rent will offset it enough, the mortgage company will let you know that.
Okay. Okay. So we have another question. Cammy is saying, based on overall cost of the home, wouldn't the amount of the down payment also dictate whether you have to pay PMI?
If it's FHA, it doesn't matter. It's
Okay.
always going to be a PMI.
And
Um,
PMI is
uh, mortgage insurance premium.
okay.
So basically, you don't have to put as much down for
Mm-hmm.
a federally backed loan, but you pay for it either way,
Okay.
right? Like
It's
they
still good.
their
Still
money
good. I got
anyway.
it.
Um, so because it's a federally backed loan, then they take out insurance on you uh,
Mm-hmm.
to ensure that you're paying it back. That's kind of
Okay. Okay.
if it's a conventional loan, then absolutely the amount that you put down will determine your PMI. On
Mm-hmm.
top of once you pay your mortgage on time for a certain amount of months or years, the
Mm-hmm.
PMI will actually drop off.
Okay.
But
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't happen on a
Okay.
FHA loan. Hmm.
Okay. Okay. So home equity. You buy a home, it starts becoming more valuable.
Hmm. So listen, the goal of home ownership is to get a home that's gonna make you money.
Yes. Okay.
That's the whole goal, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you want to purchase in such a way where you're making money.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, so there are two things you could do. You could do a home equity line of credit.
Mm-hmm.
So a home equity line of credit means that you get to take out a second mortgage
Okay.
on the equity in your home.
Okay.
So whatever equity you require, once it passes a certain percentage, it has to be a certain percentage in
Okay.
there, and then you'll be able to take out what's called a home equity line of credit.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could do, which what a lot of people are doing now too, is you could just refinance your home.
Okay.
And again, all of that will be based on what your home is worth presently.
Okay.
And it's the same thing where you can only take out a certain amount of percentage. Just in the third difference is you only have one payment as opposed to two.
Okay.
Do you understand what I mean? It's not a second mortgage. It's you literally redoing your mortgage over again.
Over again. Mm.
So but you can do the 30-year, or you can keep it the same amount of years that
Okay.
you already owe, or you can take it down. Like I know people who now taking their mortgage down because the interest rates are so low now. They
Mm-hmm.
taking their mortgage down. They refinance to take it down to a 15-year mortgage, and they're still paying the same mortgage amount.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it is, and then some people have gotten money back because they're refinancing. So you can still take money out, which
Okay.
is what home equity line of credit does, as long as
Mm-hmm.
you have money in there. But again, they're still paying the same monthly mortgage. A lot of that is because of the interest rate, right? So you
Okay.
get the score up, your credit score, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now you in a position where you can refinance your home, take advantage of the lower interest rate. You
Okay.
can give yourself a good percentage and a half, depending on where your interest rate was before.
Hmm.
That is what makes your mortgage rate go lower because your interest rate is coming down. And then sometimes it'll go up a little bit depending on how much you take out. But
Okay.
you can still end up, my point is you can still, a lot of people I know are still ending up at the same payment. But
Okay.
they have less years financed, if that makes sense.
Okay. 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 Urban Evangelist said FHA and HUD. Can you explain the difference?
I don't know if there is. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's housing of urban development. It's all federal. They're both federal terms.
Mm-hmm.
So a HUD home, though, if she's talking specifically about a HUD home, that is again a bank-owned home.
Okay.
But it's a federally bank-owned home.
Okay.
So it's still a foreclosure,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a federally bank-owned home.
Okay.
And HUD sometimes has different requirements of how you can purchase the HUD home. So for instance, if you go on to HUDhomestore.com, that's where HUDhomestore.com, it'll tell you, okay, this home is available, but a lot of times they like reserve the first 10, 14 days for owner occupants.
Okay.
So only owner occupants can put in offers on a home in the first 14 days.
Okay.
And then after that, it's open to investors and things of that nature.
Okay. We have another question. Mama Wanda said, I inherited my mom's house, but didn't understand inheritance tax. Is there a way to escape this? Asking for others, I paid it. These emojis are funny.
Nope.
Oh.
Mm-mm.
Let's talk about inheritance tax.
When you go to sell that house, or when you go to refinance that house, they're going to realize you never paid it, and you will, that was one of the things that happened in the house that I was in.
Mm-hmm.
We went to refinance it, and nobody paid the inheritance tax, and they took it out of the proceeds of what we were going to do. So there is absolutely no way to, so let me say this, because this is near and dear to my heart on so many levels. When we're planning for our future and we're planning for our generations and we're planning for our kids, the best and easiest way to avoid inheritance tax is to have your name and whoever you're going to will your house to, put your name on the house. It's really that simple. You put their name on the deed, and it has to be on the deed 5 years prior to your death.
Okay.
And if your name is on the deed, they never have to pay an inheritance tax because they own it with you.
Okay.
So unfortunately, we have too many people that don't do that, and then you end up with this situation where you end up having to pay an inheritance tax, and you got to file the paperwork. Or like I said, when you go to refinance and sell that home, it's going to come out.
Okay.
It's going to come out, and they will take it from the proceeds of what of what you're getting. The other way, I was trying to think. I think it was something else I had wanted to say. Now I lost my train of thought. But yeah, so make sure you put your name, whoever it is that you. The other thing I know what it was. So if you end up with a sick family member, that family member owns that house. Sometimes, depending on the nursing homes and things of that nature, not that you have to, but they will try to get you to sell their house to pay them and all that other type of stuff. Again, if you have somebody else's name on the house, they can't. It's not an asset.
Okay.
That person who is now a patient is not an asset to them. Same thing happens with bank accounts. People, you got to pay inheritance tax on everything. So if people got bank accounts with money in it, all that kind of stuff, like you got to report all that, and then you got to pay inheritance tax on that. How do you avoid that? Name somebody on your account. You ain't got to let them know. They'll find out where you're going.
Yes.
At the end of the day, but again, their assets are protected because if they go into a nursing home, they're gonna ask you how much these people got in the bank.
And they're gonna try to take it over.
His name is on that account. Guess who's trying to usurp that bank account? That nursing home. So we gotta protect our assets. One of the biggest ways gentrification happens is because we don't protect our assets. And people swoop in, and now you stuck with these bills, and then somebody waving $30,000 in your face to buy your home $100.
Oh man!
And you just giving them $30,000, and then they turn around selling it for $2 and $3. Yeah,
Yeah.
you understand what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, we really need to, as a community, we really need to learn and protect our assets a lot better. Mm-hmm.
So what I'm hearing is that if you have a house, it's good to put who you're going to leave the house to on the deed with you.
Mm-hmm.
God
At some
forbid.
point, you don't have to do it right away,
Mhm.
but at some point, yes. Mm-hmm.
So you said it has to be 5 years. God forbid you don't make that 5 years. How does that work?
Usually you just kind of have to go through a probate and then become administrative. Like you
Okay.
basically have to ask for the house. That's all. It's how they look at it.
Okay.
Because here's what happened, and we talk all the time about how people move the goalposts.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people started getting hit to that,
Mm-hmm.
and then they would do it not too long before they passed away. So, and so they ended up changing the timelines of it. That's how that happened.
Okay.
So it used to be 3. It used
Okay.
to be 3 years. Now it's 5.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. So, and speaking of that, so like say, living in a house, going well, somebody sends you a letter where their client has been approved for some nice change, and then they're offering you that paper. How legit, I guess, would that be? And what would be the steps for that person if they were interested?
If they were interested in purchasing the house, you mean?
Yeah, so somebody sends you a letter saying, "Hey, I just got approved for this. Are you trying to sell your house?"
Oh, okay. So most people who are sending letters, about purchasing your house are purchasing it through cash
Okay.
or through what we call hard money.
Okay.
So hard money is a loan, but it don't look like a loan. By the time they send all the specifications to the person who's loaning them the money, they literally are giving them the cash.
Okay.
So they're giving you cash. So 9 times out of 10, if you're getting a letter in the mail about people trying to purchase your house, then they're trying to purchase your house outright through cash.
Mm-hmm.
And in that case, honestly, I still would talk to a realtor because how would you know what it's worth?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Please don't go on Zillow because Zillow is not going to tell you the truth.
Yeah. It'll tell you a number, but you might find out that it's worth more.
So, us realtors, we have access to certain databases. I can literally see what was sold yesterday. Like Zillow is not, they're not that.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. And so, your house oftentimes is actually worth more than what this estimate is. And so you want to get yourself connected with an agent who is going to help you sell it for what you need. I'm not saying that you don't work with that person. I'm saying that you have representation when you're working with people who are offering you money because most of the time they're going to lowball you.
Okay.
Because they're investors.
Mm-hmm.
They're investors. That's what they want to do.
Yeah. It's a lot of scams. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta be careful because
It is. It's wholesalers out here. You know what I mean? It's a lot going on out here, which is why, at the end of the day, people say, "Oh, I don't know if I want to pay a realtor this, that, and the third." My thing is, you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and if you're a buyer, you're really not paying that much, if anything at all, right? So, yeah, the seller is the one that's paying the commission. Mm-hmm.
Urban Evangelist also said, "I paid the inheritance tax and they gave it back."
That's awesome.
She's doing good.
Well, maybe what they did in that situation, depending on how you wrote it out and stuff, they may have seen that the expenses for that inheritance kind of outweighed things, and then they gave you money back. I'm not quite sure. I'm not a tax person, so but that's absolutely awesome.
Yes. Mama Wanda said, "Keep all of your receipts
and
your expenses."
So again, you can inherit a home, but if you have to go to probate, you're going to have to pay for probate. That's an expense that you write off when you file those inheritance taxes.
Okay.
If you have to pay any of the person's bills or anything, you know what I mean? Like in order to settle the estate, all of that stuff, that's that's another expense that you file against the inheritance tax. If you don't know how to fill out the paperwork and you have to hire a CPA to do it, that's another expense that you write off against the inheritance tax. So yeah, that's kind of how all that goes. Yeah.
Okay.
And in the same realm, in closing costs, when you purchase a home, when you go do your taxes, keep all of that stuff, because those are things that you're going to put in your tax return as well. All of that stuff, help.
Okay. So we spoke on loans. So what are the things we should know about loans as it relates to getting a home?
So one of the biggest things I want you to know is that you are able to shop around for loans. A lot of people get really, really finicky when I usually send a list of about 4 or 5 mortgage offers for you to talk to, and then you can talk to them and compare what they're giving you. And then people go, oh my gosh, if I have all them run on my credit, it's going to be a mess. You do it in a certain time frame, and then it won't affect your score.
Okay.
Because they kind of see who's running it. They give you a certain amount of inquiries for that particular situation before it affects your score. So, but you want to compare interest rates. You want to compare whatever the programs are. Some banks have great down payment assistance programs. Some banks don't have any down payment assistance programs. There's a difference between using a bank and using a mortgage broker. You want to know what the differences are, what they're offering you, and which is the best situation for you.
Got it. Got it. Crystal said, be watchful of who you are buying from. You don't want to be scammed, and having a realtor helps you with the small print.
Absolutely, which is why I say realtors can absolutely help you with a for sale by owner. Absolutely help you with a for sale by owner, because at the end of the day, you want to be protected, and you want to know that you have someone in your corner that will cross all the T's and dot all the I's and make sure that you're not getting into something that is not going to be beneficial.
So that's the benefit. Somebody to hold your hand and walk you through the process. Again, I was very grateful. I didn't like everything that they said all the time because I felt like, but this is it. But it wasn't, and not settling. And that's really important because this is a contract of your life a little bit that you're committing yourself to. For some
Absolutely.
This is good. So what's something that we didn't talk about that you definitely want us to know?
I'm trying to think, because we covered so much.
We try to make sure we get it all in there. If anybody else has a question, be sure to drop it down.
Oh, so here's what I want to talk about too. So contracts. When you enter into a contract with your realtor, you will enter into a contract. You should be entering into a contract with your realtor, whether you are a buyer or whether you are a seller. There are some people who are leery of entering into contracts when they're a buyer. And I want to say that contract protects you as well as protects the person that is working for you. If I could just say, like, you just respect it, like that's their job. Like most realtors don't get paid until the deal is done. Not when I'm taking you out to show you 10, 20, 30 houses. Like, I don't get paid until the deal is closed. Right. And so in order to ensure that they are that they are for you and you are for them, and that they know that they have a client, it's like they're not trying to scam you if they ask you to sign a contract, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's all part of knowing, okay, this is my client, this is who I'm responsible for, these are my duties to this client, and this is the duties that the client has to me. So you're going to be asked to do that regardless. The other thing you're going to be asked, especially as a buyer, before they take you out to show you homes, or you should be asked, I'm saying don't feel like they're trying to scam you if they say, I need you to be approved first, be pre-approved before you go out to search for houses. Absolutely normal. I don't show anybody houses without them being pre-approved. And again, I've been in this 11 years. I do it from experience. I have showed people houses and they weren't pre-approved, and then they went to go found the house they love.
You can't get it. It's very important.
Now we got to wait another 3 months, right? And
Mm-hmm.
now I done spent 3 months showing you houses that you can't afford. You done spent all this time falling in love with something you can't afford.
Mm-hmm.
Had we known this 3 months ago, you probably could have got the house you wanted.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yes.
On top of that, it's not just about me as an agent or you as the client. It's about the seller. The seller is entrusting that the people who are coming through their home are able to purchase their home.
Yes.
In many cases, these homes are already occupying. You're asking people to leave their homes so that you can come to their homes. Some of them have kids that they have to get out their homes so that you can come view them. So it's only common courtesy to be in a position to purchase the home that you're going to go see.
Got it. Awesome. So it's good to be to know how much you can spend, because you'll get excited about a $250,000 house that you can't move into. Yeah.
Right. And so also some people go based on their rent.
Okay.
Paying $1,800 a month in rent, you assume, okay, well, I could do $1,800 a month in mortgage. You may not be eligible for $1,800 a month in mortgage. The criteria that the landlord has is different than the criteria that the bank has.
Got it.
So you want to make sure exactly what you're eligible for. You may be comfortable spending $1,800. You may only be eligible to spend $1,200. That is a vast difference in the houses that we would be able to see. So you want to know up front.
And it's some benefits too, because if that wasn't all inclusive with the $1,800, if you have something that's cheaper, it's nice because you can stack and save. Because again, things happen.
Right.
If you're not cut out for cutting grass, you find out you need to find somebody. I found out I had to find somebody.
Right. But $1,800 versus $1,200, I'm saying, is the difference between $300,000 and $200,000. That's like, so if you tell me $1,800 just based off of what you paying in rent, and I'm showing you all these houses you love, your mind gonna be blown when I show you a $200,000 house.
It's gonna be blown. It's not gonna be, they talk about like being bougie and things. So it's like I'm just used to a certain
right. Like,
and then I get it. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Oh, I can't afford it. Then you take it's like you're disrespecting me.
I can get that. So again, these are the things that you want to know. And I've tried different strategies with different buyers, showing them houses, and they absolutely fell in love with it. And I was like, so this was gonna cost them oh. Okay. So now what we doing, right?
Yes.
Now how we bringing it back? So, so it just kind of all depends on how that works. But just know what you're eligible for. I can't stress that enough. Know exactly what you're eligible for before you go out looking at houses.
Yes, because definitely, and again, know what it is that you want.
Yes.
House. The second time when I went around, I was like, all right, we're really gonna buy a house now. The first house I went to, I thought it would be too big. I was like, oh, it's not too bad. The second house I went to, I was like, this is too small.
Yes.
You have to, what works for you. And again, when you be like, okay, this is just right. It's like was it Three Little Bears or Goldilocks and the Bears? And it's too cold. It's too this. It's just right. It's right. Now with some things that could be fixed, but mostly at ease, like 98%, like I'm good.
Right. And the other thing too is like, because you don't want to have buyer's remorse.
Yes.
You really don't. Right. And so you want to be honest with yourself, and you want to be honest with your realtor about what it is that you really want. And then you want to be honest with yourself about what it is you can afford. And then we can kind of try to marry the two and kind of go from there. Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, this was amazing. Thank you so much for joining me on today. I did tag her when I shared it. I'll be sure to, share information. If you want to connect with her, ask some more questions. She'll be sure to help you and connect you if you're looking for a house or just want to see if you're prepared to buy a house.
Yes.
And to have those tough conversations of this is good for you or this is not good for you. And you want somebody like that to help you to find what's best for you. But at the end of the day, make sure you're not settling.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And Your Strawberry Mansion is where you can find me on Facebook.
Okay.
And on Instagram is Strawberry Teen. So Yep. I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
absolutely. All my information is on both of those pages. My phone
Okay.
number, my email, everything. So.
Got it. So again, if you want to get in contact, be sure to contact her from those sites that you said. Sorry, I didn't write those down earlier.
Your Strawberry Mansion.
Let me say.
Is on the Facebook page.
Your Strawberry Mansion altogether?
No, it's not all together.
Okay, so your Strawberry
Mansion.
I like that, a Strawberry Mansion.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Every house is the mansion for you, right? Like at the end of the day, it is your mansion. It doesn't have to be 6 bedrooms, 35.
Yes.
Your home is your mansion. That's how it should be.
Your home is your mansion. That's it. You want to have a home where you're at peace.
Yep. And that's all that matters. That's all that matters.
The quarantine has been a blessing, but it's sometimes still I be like, I just like being home. It's beautiful here. It's my haven,
Yep.
You
and
do what
Strawberry
you do.
Team on Instagram. So you can follow me on Instagram at Strawberry Team.
Strawberry Team.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So again, be sure to reach out if you have any questions.
Thank you so much.
Again, I am so excited. Thank you again so much for joining us on today. And may you have a great evening.
Thank you. You do the same. Thank you all for joining us.
Yes. Good night.
Good night.
Whew, so that was fun. Thank you so much again for joining us on tonight. I want to look into some things that we have coming up. Boom, boom, boom. Join me tomorrow, Tuesday, October 27th at 2 p.m. as my friends at Turning Points for Children's Community Engagement has asked me to come back. This time, we're going to be talking about the good, the bad, and the toxic. Because guess what? Relationships need boundaries. So if you're not doing anything tomorrow, I promise to post it ahead of time this time. Last time I was told I posted it a little too late. Not late, but I'll make sure that you get the information so that you can participate. I will also record it and make sure that I post it on our YouTube channel. We got some subscribers. So if you're not subscribed, please go subscribe. That made me so happy seeing we got a little bit, I see y'all watching, y'all paying attention, y'all enjoying what we're sharing. So our Getting a House in Order series has come to an end, but check out what we have planned for next month. Hey, it's your girl Jen Kears, and I want to invite you to join me for our November Wildcard series. That's right, I'm throwing out a wild card. So join us on Monday, November 2nd with PJ Owens, brand strategist, content curator, and author. Then join us on Monday, November 9th, as we will have Dr. Jimmy Ellis, the pastor, the teacher, the author. We will close out on Monday, November 16th with Dr. Wesley Proctor, nonprofit expert, professor, and author. So tune in on Facebook Live or YouTube Live by searching Chosen Counselors on Mondays at 8 p.m. Mark your calendars and tell a friend. This Wildcard series is brought to you by Chosen Counselors. So I'm low-key nervous, but so excited for next month. These 3 men have been amazing resources for me to help me to be able to give what I give to you. So we'll find out how they've been a blessing to my life, and I'm sure what they have to share will be amazing for you. Something else we have coming up. So the Christmas season is coming, the holiday season is coming, and Chosen Counselors wants to do something a little bit different this year. We want to do a play. So we need your help. As the holiday season is approaching, we will be presenting a live reading of a play. Tannis Harms wrote an amazing play, and me and the board of Chosen Counselors did a read-through and had so much fun. So we're hoping that we could do this live reading on one of our Gen Care segments in December. And if you're interested, please email us at chosencounselorsinc@gmail.com by Friday, November 13th. So again, if you feel like you could be a reader, volunteers, please do email us today so that we could, get you in there. I think it's going to be so much fun. We had so much fun doing it. So I'm so excited to present that. And again, roles will be filled as soon as people send us emails and things of that sort. So we'll keep it going. Something else I wanted to share with you is wrong one. Bam. I got to put a plug in for myself. I also do a little bit of editing on the side, and I've been in the game for a little while. So if you're writing a book or need someone to proofread, check the flow, Jen Cares has you covered. I got a lot of hats that I got going on right now, but you know what? It's so amazing to be able to give back. And, we always still do want to hear from you. If you have an amazing topic that we should talk about, let me know. If you know somebody that would be a great addition to have, let me know. You can email me at chosencounselorsinc@gmail.com. Whew, so we got a lot going on. Tomorrow I'll be talking with Turning Points. Next month we're going to have a wild card series. If you need some editing done, I'm your girl. And we're going to have a live reading of a Christmas play. So if you want to participate, let me know. Send me a message today. So again, I thank you so much for joining us for our November series. It has been amazing between the health act. What was the theme for WIT? What did she say? Healthy and fit, healthy living. Then we did fire safety, credit restoration, and today securing a home. Thank you so much, every one of you, for joining me. I appreciate it. I really do, because you don't have to. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for staying on to the end. I'll be doing a closing and y'all still be there, and I truly appreciate that. You don't have to do that. And, I love y'all for real. So again, see you next week, because we're going to have my brother from another mother, PJ Owens, and you don't want to miss it. So again, I love you all. Until next time, peace.